Welcome, writers. Today is Monday, December 7th, 2020. Welcome back to another day of writing workshop. The materials you will need for today's lesson are a pencil, your draft, some extra paper, your writing journal, and your drafting notes with your source information. If you don't have these supplies, go ahead and pause the video to collect them, then come back and press play. Okay, did you find your supplies? I hope so, because you'll definitely need them. I want to tell you our objectives for today's writing lesson. I will explain revision strategies and how to create a source list. We will recognize how to improve sentence structure to revise and how to differentiate between the types of sources when listing them. You will revise your draft by using the revision strategies and create a source list. Students, in this lesson, you will finalize your draft. Let's look at two versions of some sentences to see how the writer made improvements when finalizing a draft. Let's look at A here on improving word choice and sentence structure. A states that you can add words to give more information. I'm going to read these two sentences to you. The author went to Zambia. Number 2 states the author visited an elephant sanctuary in Zambia. The second sentence adds an idea to show what the author did in Zambia. It added words to give more information, which is sometimes a good technique that you could use in order to revise your draft and give the reader a little bit more information. Another way you can improve word choice or sentence structure is by deleting ideas. Follow along as I read the sentences on section B. The elephant sanctuary had an elephant nursery where babies lived. Or number 2, the elephant sanctuary kept the babies in a nursery. The first sentence was wordier than it needed to be. So therefore, in the second sentence, they kind of rearranged some words, took some words out, deleted the ideas, but still kept the same information. Another way of improving word choice and sentence structure is by combining ideas. This is section C here. Follow along as I read the two sentences. Aaron wanted to help. The people standing wanted to help too. Number 2 states, Aaron and the bystanders all wanted to help. Did you notice that the writer combined the sentences and chose bystanders to replace people standing by to make the idea shorter without changing the meaning? Another idea that you could use is to rearrange ideas and add words for coherence. Number 1 states the elephant let Aaron give her food, but that was after she would not eat. And number 2 states at first, Bessie would not drink from a bottle, but then she let Aaron feed her. The second sentence changes the order of ideas and adds words to logically connect the events. It's also more specific by using Bessie, the elephant's name, and the word bottle instead of food. Another way to improve word choice or sentence structure is by rearranging ideas and choosing better words for clarity. Peppers can be an effective border plant for keeping elephants out of gardens. Or number 2 states, elephants will stay out of gardens surrounded by pepper plants. The second sentence uses shorter words and gets to the point more quickly. Any of these ideas can be used in order to revise your draft. Take some time now to pause the video when I say go and revise your editorial using what you've learned here today to improve your sentence structure and word choice. After you do this, come back and press play so that we can get started on part 2 of today's lesson. Now that you're back, let's get started. Welcome to part 2 of today's lesson. Once you've finalized your draft and you know the information that you're definitely using, you always want to list your sources. It's proper practice to list sources anytime you're writing a formative or persuasive paper. or when you have paraphrased someone else's ideas to support your thinking. Notice here how there are different types of sources. There is a website listed here. You can tell from what's underlined. There is an article, a magazine article, as well as a book. The magazine article is listed here, and you can tell by the title, the magazine name, the date of the publishing, and the page numbers that it's on. Here you can tell that this is a book by how the source is created. Okay, so I want you to take some time and go over your notes and make a short list of the sources that you used, or at least get that list in your brain so that you'll be able to use it later. Now that you have that list, or you have your notes with your sources, let's go over some information. Here are some guidelines for listing your sources. You always want to alphabetize by author's last name. A book is going to be written on your source list just like this. You're going to want to put your author's name first. The last name would go first, and then the first name. Make sure that you're using the punctuation that's within this information as well. You want to name your book title, write your book title here, and underline it, and place a period. Then you're going to want to write the publisher's location. You will then use a semicolon. You'll write the name of the publisher and then the copyright year, or the year it was copyrighted. For a magazine article, you're going to want to write the author's last name and first name, just like so, in parentheses, and a period. Then when you write your article title, make sure you include quotation marks around it and a period. Next, you'll list a magazine title or name. Make sure that magazine title or name is underlined. You will place a comma, and then you will write the date that it's published with a period. And finally, you'll put the page numbers that the article was on in the magazine and include another period. This is how you would write a magazine article. For a website source, whenever you use information directly from a website, you're going to want to list the author's name, if it's available, within parentheses, last name first and then first name, and a period. Then you're going to want to write the article or website's title with a period and quotation marks around it. Next, you're going to write the URL and a comma and the date that you read the article. If you notice from before, you can actually tell that there is no author listed for bottled water, this source here that came directly from a website. That's okay though. We go to the next information that's available to us, which happened to be, in this case for this writer, happened to be the name of the title of the article that they read online. And then they listed the website directly, the website URL, and the date that the author has found the information or read the information. The website and sometimes magazine articles do not always have the author's name. If no author is named, the source is alphabetized by title. This just means that the sources are listed in alphabetical order by author's name, but if there is not an author named, the source would then be listed in alphabetical order by the beginning of the letter in the title. So if you notice here, there are two authors listed, but then there is a title itself, the source title. But in this case, what you do is you have the sources listed in alphabetical order. Well, in this case, the author's name started with an A, so this one went first. Next in line was the source titled Bottled Water because it started with a B. And then the source author, Marcus Grant, was listed third because G comes after B within the alphabet, and there were no other sources for C, D, and E, and F. So they listed in alphabetical order according to the information that they had. When handwriting, you should underline book titles and magazine names. When you type on a computer, you can italicize these sources. You will now take the time to list your sources for your editorial on a separate sheet of paper. Remember to use the guidelines for creating source lists that you copied down into your journal. If you need some time to copy that information down, I have it right here. I want you to take the time to copy down this information so that you have it to reference later. Okay, now that you have that information to reference, use your notes to determine which types of sources that you have: book, website, or magazine sources, and then create your source list. Be sure to remember to alphabetize your list. Turn your draft that you revised and your source list into your teacher. You can do this by sending a picture or copy of both the revised draft and your source list.